Okay, going to have a quick tour of Yosemite National Park, starting with a zoomed out view of the central part of California. You can see San Francisco. It's about 200 miles directly west of Yosemite National Park. Pacific Ocean here, and the Sierra Mountains marked by this little green patch that runs northwest to southeast. So Yosemite National Park is here, and we're going to take a closer look at Yosemite Valley, which is as you can see, this little depression among the high Sierras. And particularly for this exercise, we're going to be concentrating on this part, which is bounded by the pink line here, Yosemite Valley. I'm going to switch it to satellite view so you can actually see the landmarks that are in the valley. The most prominent landmark here is Half Dome. You can see that here, and if you quickly turn on 3D view, you can see how Half Dome dominates the landscape here, and it's pretty much something that you can see from various other high points in the park. So that's a prominent landmark in Yosemite. The other one is El Capitan. I have to curve around the valley here to get to El Capitan. There you go. So this is El Capitan, a sheer vertical granite cliff here. At the top it's about 7,500 feet, and bottom here is like 4,000 feet. So 3,500 feet sheer drop. One of the world's premier climbing destinations. Let's look at some of the other landmarks here. So these are the Cathedral Rocks. What I'm pointing with a cursor here, and right below that is Bridal Veil Falls, something that you'll see when you enter the park from the west. You'll see a lot more water if you come earlier in the season. And if you keep driving down the valley, I'm going to make it a little bit vertical, zoom out a little bit, and then if you get to this point, swivel around and zoom in there. Yeah, unzoom a little bit, you'll see Yosemite Falls as it's marked here. Once again, you need to come early in the season if you want to see it at speed, because most of its path is granite, so it pretty much evaporates or falls away into this river, which is Merced River, by late summer. So you can see the falls. It's one of the highest falls in North America, if not the world. This section is referred to as the Upper Falls, and this the Lower Falls. There's a very nice hiking trail that lets you go up all the way to the top. There's some switchbacks here on the lower section, and then you can see the switchbacks here that get you above the level of the falls, where you can enjoy the creek that flows into Yosemite Falls. And then let's take a quick look at this section here, which we covered on this trip. This is Tenaya Canyon right here, and Mirror Lake is somewhere here. It's a short 1 mile hike from the trailhead, but you can enjoy views of Half Dome directly below its nose. Yeah, that's Half Dome. This is known as North Dome because it's on the northern rim, and you can see here there is some wind erosion activity here. These are known as the Royal Arches, and this is known as Washington Column. The idea of giving these names, I mean, the names are arbitrary, but once you get to know the names, they become like personalities, and every visit you get to visit some part of the park, and these names start making more sense. They could, of course, be called anything else, and over time, those names would stick as well. And let's talk a little bit about some of the points on the southern rim here. So it's this particular plateau is about 7,500 feet or so, and there are some very nice viewpoints here. On this trip, we visited Taft Point, which is right here where I'm pointing, and the view you get from Taft Point is an excellent view of El Capitan, but looked at from the other side. This set of rock formation known as the Three Brothers, and then of course Yosemite Falls, which I mentioned just a little while ago, right here. That's Yosemite Falls. And then as you keep walking on this trail right here, you see Sentinel Dome, and there is a viewpoint here where you can see points further east, like Half Dome, etc. And if you descend a little bit, to this point, which is known as Glacier Point, and you can get there by car. You get much more viewpoints because it's like a peninsula that juts into the valley, giving you about a 270-degree viewpoint. There's another point here known as Washburn Point, and from there you can see this particular gorge right here. This gorge is known as Illilouette Gorge, and there's a waterfall in that gorge, which is this. It's known as Illilouette Falls, which can only be seen from Washburn Point right here, which is just 1 mile from Glacier Point, but you can see that much more. And finally, I'll leave you with a zoomed out view of other points in the park right here. Some peaks which are 13,000 feet or above. Mount Star King is a prominent peak. It's only 9,900 feet, but it looks very nice when you look at it from these viewpoints. And finally, let's show the route you get to Glacier Point with, and which means you have to come out of the valley all the way. I'm going to switch to map view so that I can get my bearings right and not get lost. So the way to get to Glacier Point right here is actually to come from the valley to Glacier Point. It's just a short distance, but it's about 4,000 feet elevation. So you can hike from various points, from here, etc. But if you want to drive, you have to come all the way about 40 miles, 30 to 40 miles, drive up and gain elevation on this road. And at one point here, there is a one-way road of about 16 miles that gets you to this point. And you can, of course, park your car somewhere here and get off and hike to various points, which is what we did on this particular trip. So back to satellite view to show how it looks in 3D view. So if you get back here, and this is where you gain all the elevation when you drive around this massive to get to Glacier Point. But in order to exit the park, you have to come back all the way here again, enter the valley, but then you get a nice little vista point here to look at all the familiar icons before exiting the park.